I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day, and we have a great guest on the show, but a little bit different. So Dream Chasers Radio is all about chasing your dream. And there are many different things that you could be doing at many different points in your life. And at this point, we're going to talk about making money. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. So I have Gregory Blake on the show today, and I want to welcome him. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, how you doing? It's great to be here with you today.
Awesome. So tell me about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Gregory Blake. I'm the president of GPB Logistics Trucking Company, and also a trucking educational resource for truckers. And we started up about 5 years ago, and it's been a blessing, a great journey in the trucking industry.
You know, the trucking industry, I'm going to have to say this, you guys, thank you. Just thank you. Thank you. You bring me my food, you bring me my products, you bring me my stuff. I mean, literally, if we were to come out of Florida and we go up the mountains in Georgia, there are places where rocks can fall on you.
Right.
No.
Not just rocks. You know, you have rural areas. You know, I've been places where there weren't any internet connection, no phone signal. You know, Amish. You know, people riding on horses.
No.
In America.
No.
So it's very interesting, you know, to be a truck driver and to travel to America, to seeing the great terrains and the differences, you know, in certain demographics.
Yes, definitely. I have a friend, my husband's friend. He's my friend now, but my husband's friend, he's a trucker and he's gone most of the time. I mean, it's got to be really, really devastating sometimes when you leave and you can't get in contact with your family because something big has happened and they're so scared for you. And they're like, I hope he's not in the middle of that. And then all of a sudden you call and you get that sigh of relief. I mean, but what you guys do is dangerous, but also a lot of fun. Tell me about these things. Tell me about the dangers of truck driving and also the fun.
Well, the dangers of truck driving, of course, you know, the accidents, is so many accidents. And a lot of it is not on the part of the truck drivers because truck drivers, we have to go through a certain amount of hours. And I believe it's about 120 hours. And it varies from state to state, how much driving training that you must complete before you can get behind the wheel of a semi. So when you see a lot of these accidents taking place, the majority of them are not truck drivers' fault. It's that people don't know how to navigate. A lot of people become afraid. You know, driving on the side of semis, you know, you want to hurry up and get by them, and while the semi is going by. And that's the danger because, you know, operating a commercial vehicle, you know, it's about 45, 50,000 pound units, in what they call in trucking school a killer machine. You know what they call it. You know, just to keep drivers aware of the danger that can take place when you driving behind the semi if you're not, you know, 100% driving safely. So it's very important, you know, for anybody, you know, ever thinking about entering into the trucking industry to pay close attention to safety, you know, because, you know, a part of, you know, getting this country together is safety. You know, we won't be able to get the groceries to New York, Florida, Texas, and cross country if it was, you know, so many casualties and, you know, more than what there are. And so yeah, those are the dangers. Now the great things about trucking is, of course, if you know, managing and running your operation properly, you can be financially wealthy. You can become wealthy in the trucking industry, and it doesn't matter your education. There's truck drivers that have become millionaires who had prior been incarcerated.
Mm.
But upon getting released from prison, with better hopes, determinations, and goals, became trucking company owners and became
Yeah.
increasingly successful. So,
Right.
regardless of your education, but it does take a certain level of education in order to be successful in the trucking industry and run your business properly.
So so what do you do? Where do you come in with your company?
Well, my company, we actually we haul loads. We're a trucking company, but apart from that, we've started educating new owner operators and people interested in starting their own trucking companies. So we have expanded our company into trucking education.
I like
Also,
that. I like that. So someone wants to come on. Is it purely like, do you have to have hands on? You got to go to where you are and actually get physical with, hands on the truck, hands on everything? Or can they start off virtual and then be there?
well, to become a truck owner operator, you don't actually have to be a truck driver, and
Oh,
that's the great thing.
wait, stop. You don't have to be a truck driver to own a trucking company?
No, ma'am. You could have never sat behind a semi truck in your life, and you can start up your own trucking company and become successful. Especially if you have any kind of background in administration, uh, you know, any kind of business background, you could become successful. Now, I'm gonna tell you how this happens.
Okay, tell me, because I mean, I never knew that.
Right, because that this is when you start your company up, in order to get the operational license, you're going to need to have someone that has been driving a semi for at least 2 years. Now, that's what you need to start a trucking company, a driver. The owner doesn't have to be the driver, but if you're going to be the driver and the owner, then you would need to have a CDLA.
Mm-hmm.
Also, along with starting your company. But I actually know some real good women friends of mine who own trucking companies who have never driven a semi, but they knew some good working, men, truck drivers who were willing to help them get their operations going, and drove for them. And now they're doing very well in the trucking industry, but they had a background previously in business, so they know how to run an operation. They know about accounting, because all of these things are very important in order to become successful in the trucking business. You have to be able to manage your funds, and you have to know what's coming in and also what's going out. And be able to have a correct balance between that. But to answer your question, no, you do not need to be a driver in order to be an owner operator. I mean, owner of the company.
Right. And, the biggest thing I see is that, a lot of people don't realize that they can do this, that they can be an owner of a trucking company. So your company actually does the education behind that?
Yes, ma'am. We provide the education, in which you do not have to come to us. We a part of the education, we have virtual meetings every week through social media, where I'm able to meet with the students and you go over their progress with them, and deal with a lot of them offline, also through phone calls, consultations, meetings. If I have to go to locations, about 2 weeks ago, I went with a student and to help her inspect the vehicle, because I believe in being hands-on, from the starting process, from the beginning with the students, to make sure that they're making the proper steps, because one wrong move,
and that could cost a life.
It costs you a lot of money, and without the proper knowledge and education on how to run a trucking company. Now, they have many schools that train drivers how to become, workers, employees. But in the trucking industry, there's pretty much no school that teaches anyone how to be an owner operator. So we decided to fill that gap. And the trucking industry also is very secretive. Drivers, they do not like to share information because they feel as though when the more drivers that come into the trucking industry, the rates, would decrease. Because the reason why they feel this way is because right now, the more, say for instance, if you have 1,000 loads being hauled out of Atlanta today, and you have 800 trucks in Atlanta, the demand for the loads are going to go down, and so is the price. But if you have 1,000 trucks in Atlanta and you have 400 trucks in Atlanta, the price is going to rise because there's not enough trucks to haul all of the loads.
I got you.
So, the price up.
I got you. So 1,000 loads, 400 trucks. Got it. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's another form of education that we teach in our training courses is, the information that I just shared. So, this trucking business is all about being knowledgeable and knowing what's going on, just like any other industry.
Right, definitely. Wow. This is so knowledgeable. Now, let me ask you a question. When people go into a business, some businesses are just sweat equity, but this here, do you do it in all the states? And is every state the same? And do they have to license? I mean, all of this stuff. Do you teach them all of this? Yes,
ma'am. And now, this is what happened. We have the DOT, the Department of Transportation, and the Department of Transportation, that's the feds. So your motor carrier number, that comes from the feds, and that's all over the country. So now, when it comes to if you're going to be driving your truck outside of the state, then of course, like when you start your company up, you have something called IFTA, which is your fuel tax. And so if you're going to be driving outside of the state, then you would have to apply for different licenses, fuel tax licenses in certain areas that require like fuel tax licenses from different states, such as Kentucky, New Jersey, New York. Those states, they have individual fuel tax licenses, but the feds set up IFTA, in which is conducts and collects for fuel tax all over the country. So to answer your question, there's some portions of your setup that's going to be national, and then there's a few portions of that will have to be taken care of within each and individual state. And
I got you.
Like your tag registration, if your tag is registered in, say, Ohio, then your authority will also have to come, be registered. Like, so it can get pretty intricate.
Right. And that's where you come along.
And that's where we come along to simplify it so that it can be understood by someone with no experience, no knowledge, no education, and it's better explained through a meeting platform, through a one-on-one, through consultations, because everybody doesn't learn the same.
Right.
Some people, you have to take your time. You have to take a little more time with them. So, we definitely believe in, helping and because just to give you a short, summary of my story. When I first came to Georgia, about 6 to 7 years ago, in Florida, I didn't have anything. I was broke. I didn't have my driver's license was revoked, and I was living with people, and I had to come up with a plan. And I was looking through Craigslist at jobs, and I continued to see these huge paying positions as truck drivers, $1,500 a week, $2,000. My eyes became big. So, I began to apply myself and set up new goals, to get my life together, and that's what I did. I completed goal after goal until I got my license back, got a CDL, drove for a company. So I took steps, but starting my own trucking company up after working for other trucking companies, I started up with $12,000, and I was able to make over $400,000 in my first year, by the grace of God, and I'm thankful. And so, with being able to have rose so far out of poverty, I feel like is my duty to help others do the same, and show them the light, that these truckers are trying to hide from them.
I think that there is a spot for everyone. So like say there's 1,000 loads that need to be done in about 10 states. If you are in one of those states and only 400 people show up, I mean, it's a roll of the dice, really. I mean, you think about it, it's like, okay, so there's going to be enough for everybody. Maybe one load will be less, but then the next load will be more. You know what I mean? So I mean, you have to look at it like what you're saying. You've come out of poverty, you've moved up. Congratulations on that, by the way. It does take a lot of determination and dedication to do that, and then now you're starting your own company. There are so many different branches that you can go out to, not just the driving, but like you're doing the consultations and the helping and getting licensed and stuff. It's just amazing what you're doing. And I thank you so much. And it is a profession that, I mean, so many people can get into. Definitely can get into.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Like I say, and they don't have to have any form of education. You really, if you don't have the education, you at least have to try to get some experience, or join, get with me, and then so people like myself or any kind of mentor, because you have, I learned a lot from veteran truck drivers with over 25 and 30 years experience in the industry, who shared with me and taught me the things that I know, in which that I pass on to other people. So, it's a great thing. At some of these truck stops, some truck drivers actually will share, and normally is the older guys. But yes, I don't know if we ran out of time, but
no, we're good. We're good. Actually, it's my show.
Right.
So I can do what I want, which is great, because that's what you're doing. You are owning your own business. You can do what you want. You can set your own schedule, and you can definitely contact Gregory Blake. Where can people find you? Where can they contact you, just in case they're interested?
Well, social media, we have a presence on social media right now. And also you can go to the website, makemillionstrucking.com.
Okay.
And we definitely check us out.
Awesome. There. Yes, definitely. We're going to have that information in the description box below, so you guys can go there and check it out for yourselves. I mean, if you've ever thought about owning a trucking company, you really don't have to be a trucker to do it. You just have to get one. But I'm sure that, if you're already in that industry, or if you're looking to get into that industry, Gregory can help you out. You just go ahead and check out that website and see if that's something you want to do. Gregory, Thank you so much. You mentioned earlier about the dangers of driving next to a truck. What can people who may be like me, scared to drive next to a truck, so we speed up to get by them? You know what I mean? What can we do to make sure that we are all safe on the road?
Now, let me tell you, drivers, and we are taught to look in our mirrors, possibly most likely every 3 to 4 minutes. So when you don't think a driver sees you, for the most part of it, unless that driver has been up driving past his hours of duty, and or he's sleepy, but for the most part, you want to think that this truck driver, he's going to be able to see you. So that's number one. But if you are around on the side of a driver or behind a driver, and you recognize that this driver might be swaying a little bit in the road, it's possible, because drivers, a lot of them, they drive tired, unfortunately. doing a little extra, sometimes you have that. So when you're able to identify, you see a driver, not, as focused on the road, you definitely want to get over to the furthest lane as possible and go right by him, because you don't want to be behind them, of course, if anything happens, because it's going to block the road off for a long period of time. So, you definitely, and you don't want to ride behind, you don't want to race a truck driver. This is something that happened to me about a few months ago. I was coming down off of a ramp, coming onto the highway, and the road was closing. And it was a semi on this side, and I was coming down the ramp while the road was closing. How about a little Ford truck flew completely through the middle while me and the other truck is coming like this, and just the end of his truck clipped my semi and tore up my steps. And the little Ford truck kept on going because he knew he was wrong with what he did, but he almost caused a collision between two semis and got himself killed because he was trying to race through the middle of semis. So number one thing, you never want to race by a semi when it's coming down, off of a ramp. You want to either let that semi go, or if the semi, you recognize that he's slowing down, speed up. So there's a few things, and accidents occur in cities and states where people are not used to semis. So they're not used to the things that they need to do in order to keep themselves safe from getting hit.
Yeah.
Like when truckers, they turn, say for instance, a truck driver, he makes that right turn.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to try to fly by the truck driver while he's turning, because
he's got to go out to go back in.
Right. So so I believe that they're the news. They report all of the accidents, but they also need to report safe driving amongst tractor trailers, because that could prevent so many more accidents from happening if the communities knew how to maneuver while semis are on the road.
Definitely. Wow. And you're right. In Florida, we are very used to trucks. Very used to trucks. There's so many trucks. I mean, and if you're on a two-way, we have a lot of two-way lanes, one going north, one going south, or east to west. And let me tell you something. It's sometimes you see them coming straight at you because they're sleeping, and there is no easement. You literally have to think fast and go to the other side and let them pass while you go around. So yeah, you have to know how to maneuver. And if you don't know how to maneuver, maybe you should think about teaching a course on how to maneuver around trucks. That would be something kind of cool there.
Right, because in Miami, they don't have no respect for truck drivers there.
No.
They really, those guys, I've been down there and they just cut right in front of you.
Yes, they do.
And like, whoa.
If you have a load and you cannot stop fast, no.
Right. So they teach truck drivers about that also, as far as trailing, because you need enough space in front of you.
Right, to stop. Just like a train. Just like a train, the same thing, same principle. You can't be sitting on the train tracks and the train's coming. You got to move.
Right.
They're not gonna be able to stop for a few miles, so you better move.
Right.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you this last little piece. I was so grateful because I went to work for a fella, and he knew I had the ambitions, and I was smart enough to be an owner operator. So he lied to me all the time and would tell me that the trucking industry was hard. It wasn't any money in the trucking industry. My boss.
Okay. He's trying to keep you from doing it.
Right.
Oh, goodness.
And so one day he sent me on the load to Morehouse, Kentucky, a little country town. And when I was delivering my load, I met an owner operator, a black fella, and who had started his own trucking company. He had 2 trucks. And when I told him, man, I want to become an owner operator someday. He said, "Oh man, this is the best thing you want to do." My eyes blew up, really. So he went in his phone. He opened up, showed me his deposits and how much money he was paying his truck, his drivers, they were making $2,500, $3,000 a week, and he was making, a big amounts of money. So when he showed me these things, my whole trajectory of thought changed, and I knew at that point my boss had been lying to me.
Yeah.
So eventually I put my 2-week notice in, and I went out there to jump in the water. It was bumpy at first, but it became a lot more smoother, and after over time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and
no problem.
it's been a blessing to be on the show with you, Miss Yaya Diamond.
Thank you. It's been a blessing to have you. And to also know that, people who have that aspiration of, and that inspiration to go after these goals, especially to be an owner and an operator for, your own trucking company, you guys can go ahead and talk to Gregory, and he will definitely make sure that he runs it all down for you, what you have to do. Just go ahead and go to that website down there that's in the description, and just check it out for yourself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Gregory, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been such a wonderful time.
Yes, ma'am. And it's been anytime I can come back, I'd love to come back and talk to the people and talk to you again. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And thank you guys again so much for being here. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.